You're listening to You Were Saying. I'm Mike Vasquez.
And my name is Mike Powell.
And today's topic is celebrity controversies.
Mike, what are your plans for Movember? No Shave November.
First of all, isn't it Movember, like Mo Money, Mo Problems?
I don't think that's why it's called Movember.
No, but I think it's pronounced that way. There's only one O.
I thought it was Movember, like M-O-V.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, you know what? Actually, no, it does make sense. Move. Okay, I thought you meant there were like two O's.
No, I was...
Like it was some kind of cow-related...
I was emphasizing the ooh.
The oov in move. Okay, yeah. I just thought it was Mo, like Moesha.
I don't think Moesha shaves. I don't think that doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's that show has been on like over a decade. I don't watch. Do they even have UPN?
Wait,
anymore?
Who's Moesha?
Moesha. I'm pretty sure that's it was a sitcom in the '90s starring the singer Brandy.
For those who don't know, No Shave November is, as the name suggests, a movement for I think male cancer. You don't shave the whole month of November to support men who have cancer.
Yeah. And it's not something that I can get behind, solely because I can't grow a substantial amount of facial hair.
I see.
It's sad. I haven't shaved in 6 days now, and I'm feeling my face, and there's just the lightest of peach fuzz. If you delicately glide your fingers, the pads of your fingers across my cheek, you'll just get the slightest fuzzy feeling, like a peach. I'm basically a peach.
You
at this point.
Feel like a hairless cat is what I'm imagining.
No, because a hairless...
Like a Siamese cat. They have very, very tiny hair.
Do they?
I think so.
You can see a few of mine, though, because I have that dark brown hair, so you can see some whiskers. I feel like if I let it go for like another couple months, I would kind of look like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Part of the gang.
I was going to say a high schooler, but yeah, that works too.
Is it ever revealed how old Scooby and the gang are? Well, not Scooby because he's a dog, but
I think they're out of school, I would imagine. I mean, they're out gallivanting in the countryside, so they can't be in school.
That's true. I mean, now that I'm thinking about the logistics behind that, these are 4 adults.
Yeah. And
raising, and they have an animal that they have to take care of and pay for food and stuff.
Fred has a car. I mean, you have to be at least 18 to drive.
Yeah. But it's the Mystery Machine is actually, no, I guess it was new when it came out, 30 years ago. So they're able to buy a brand new van and care for this dog with the money they were making from solving mysteries? Really?
Well, I would assume that Fred is in some kind of money. I mean, he does wear very, very nice clothing with that.
The ascot?
I was going to say apricot, which I know isn't the right word.
Yeah, no, you're just thinking about peaches now.
Yeah.
Because they're a delicious summertime fruit and you're longing for that summer.
I do miss summer quite a bit.
You have that summertime sadness, if you will. It's a Lana Del Rey reference.
I don't know.
You know what? Can I tell you a story?
Sure, please.
Okay, first of all, I think every podcast I should just tell a different story about like some failed relationship with just something that like a failed date or relationship or something that goes wrong. Because last time in the first podcast I had the story about how I took someone out to see Hellboy 2
yeah.
and they never talked to me again after that. And
which the debate is still up.
It's ongoing
on whether or not that was.
I'm not willing. Listen, I got a bachelor's of science. I'm a scientist, and I'm not willing to make any conclusive statements regarding whether or not Hellboy 2 is the reason why that person never talks to me anymore.
We need a control, and we need some variables.
Yeah. I could use some control in my life. I feel like I have none. I feel like I'm spinning out of control. Anyways.
What's the news story yet?
Well, a few months ago, because you and I have been planning this, talking about this podcast for a long time. And this is completely true. And so one day after work, I met one of my friends, and we were hanging out with each other one-on-one, just talking and catching up. And I told her, I said, my friend Mike Powell, he wants to start a podcast, just sort of like a general.
That calls back to a Seinfeld episode. I don't know if you know the one I'm already thinking of.
I don't, because there are like 500
George and Jerry are creating a TV show. And then George meets this girl at the bar, and he's like, I'm a writer. She goes, oh yeah. What? Well, sitcoms. And she laughs and walks away.
Yeah. That's the general direction that the story was going.
So please, finish your tale.
Well, I told her. I said, my friend, he wants to do a podcast, and he's asked me to co-host, and I'm thinking about it. It seems like it could be a fun idea. And very dryly, very seriously, she tells me, Mike, if you ever do a podcast, I'm going to stop talking to you. And that had me worried because she sounded so serious when she told me that. Like I was like, wow, is it really that uncool to do a podcast? But in the end, turns out the joke's on her because she stopped talking to me before we ever recorded. So
it seems whether or not the podcast was or wasn't made, she had no intentions of continuing talking to you. From what I can see.
Yeah. Well, she was able to find a reason, no matter what.
Now again, this goes back to Hellboy 2. It seems like it might not be the movie or the podcast itself. It might be something else. I'll leave that for you to think about. I'm sure you've thought about it enough already. Now, I want to bring up something interesting that you stated earlier. You mentioned Lana Del Rey.
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, I've heard of her. Never listened to her. Who exactly is she? Because from what I understand, she's like this kind of like the ultra manufactured pop star.
Yeah, but
is that true?
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to
exactly. I've had this conversation before, and it's the same reaction. Yeah, but and it always that but always interests me because when you think about it, yeah, a lot of pop stars kind of are manufactured.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Lana Del Rey, I think, is an interesting one because her music is kind of boring. Have you heard any of her music?
Honestly, the closest I've gotten to Lana Del Rey is like Leaky Lee type stuff.
Okay,
Is it similar?
I don't think they're that similar, honestly.
What about Grimes? Does it sound anything like that?
I don't know Grimes.
Oh, she's really cool. Yeah, Grimes makes really interesting music.
Well, I mean, Lana Del Rey is one of these pop stars that, if you do just a tiny bit of research on her, she released an album under the name Lizzie Grant, and didn't really do well. And so, she's one of these manufactured pop stars where they retooled her image, and now she's Lana Del Rey. And she has some incredible producers on the album. Like some of the production in these songs is really fantastic. She's the one that kind of bores me though. I guess I kind of understand the appeal, but I really think that 90% of her appeal is just her image. Like if you Google if you're familiar with the album cover for Born to Die, I think that's selling the album more than her music is. It's
a nice composition.
Well, sure.
It's like, good.
Well, yeah, it's like, especially the Paradise Edition, it's like, okay, here's a hot chick with a nose job and lip injections. And I think that's probably selling more for albums than her, video game song or anything else on that album.
The reason why I find Lana Del Rey interesting, not really her music, just because this is not for me. I mean, I'm sure it's good, and I respect people's opinion when it comes to music, even, maybe I won't like it. But the reason why I find her interesting in terms of like a celebrity or a personality is the fact that she is manufactured. Because you can kind of see it with her a little bit. It's a lot less transparent. Whereas a lot of other celebrities now, for instance, Miley Cyrus, that she seems like Miley Cyrus seems like a celebrity where her image isn't manufactured, but it's very calculated.
Yeah, Miley, I don't know how I feel about that statement because Miley's one of these celebrities, I feel like they're both manufactured, but I feel like Miley is just so much more offensive. She just seems really desperate to sell albums, to sell songs at any cost, and she's willing to do anything to twist her image or alter it. Because Miley Cyrus, she got her start on the Disney Channel, as
comedic actor on Hannah Montana.
Montana.
I know you know a lot more about the Disney Channel than I do.
I know some things about the Disney Channel.
But,
I don't claim to be an expert, but once a year, I do have on my Twitter, I do have an annual Radio Disney Day, where I tweet as if I was a Radio Disney DJ.
Sounds like fun.
Oh, it's a fun time because I get to talk to the kids about Justin Bieber.
I'm always surprised that you actually aren't a Bieber head. You always seem like the type. Well, just because you like good music, that's all.
Well, first of all, they like the term belieber.
Oh.
And second of all,
see, I wouldn't know that.
No, you know what? You know why you don't know? You know why you don't know that? Because you're one of these holier than thou hipster douchebags who's always acting like it's cool to be out of touch. You know, I don't even know who Justin Bieber is. Oh, you're complaining about Katy Perry. I've never even heard the radio. I don't even believe in radio frequencies.
I mean, to be fair, I mostly listen to jazz and NPR on the radio, but that's just because it's hard to find good songs on the radio.
You're also helping to prove my point.
Yeah, maybe.
So, go to Urban Outfitters, okay? Pick up a trendy scarf.
I do need a scarf.
You don't need a scarf, Mike. No one needs a scarf. Oh,
it's getting chilly.
No, I'm talking about the thin linen scarves.
Oh no, I'm talking like a thick cable knit scarf.
Oh yeah, that's comfortable. That's gonna make your neck nice and toasty.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I need that because I can't grow the beard.
Yeah, I do have a pretty nice beard going on right now, so.
But you know,
it's not too much of a concern for me.
You probably look homeless.
No, it's very well maintained.
Oh, you trim around the edges and stuff.
Yeah.
It's one of those looks kind of like Drake's hair, you know. Very, very perfectly a Steve Harvey haircut.
Oh my god!
On your face.
I don't know if you know that much about hair treatment for black men, but to get his
I know absolutely nothing about that. Why would I know anything about that? To get his hair that
finely shaped, that takes a lot of work. He has to go to the barber probably every 3 or 4 days to get it to look that good. It's a lot of commitment.
That's a lot of commitment. Yeah, I'm surprised he can afford those haircuts.
Oh, he's making Family Feud type money now.
Yeah, that's true. As long as there are families feuding, Steve Harvey's gonna have work.
It'll be like like these sex questions, like, oh, what's the one thing you never say to your wife or something, and the guys will come up with these very absurd sexist answers, and he'll just like look at his camera and do that Office thing where he'll like shake his head at the stupidity of humankind. Have you not seen this? It's hilarious.
Well, I know. First, no, I am familiar with what you're referring to, but
okay.
Like he's setting contestants up for these awkward moments, and then the awkward moment happens, and then he acts so surprised, like I can't believe this person said something outrageous after I gave them an outrageous question.
Womp womp.
Yeah, exactly, and that's not. I don't think that's really comedy. I think that's a pretty lame setup.
I mean, to be fair, it is Family Feud. I don't think they're really shooting for the stars on that show.
That's true. Family Feud, I've noticed, is on during the same time slot as what I think is the best game show of all time, Jeopardy.
It is?
Oh my god, absolutely. And listen, Jeopardy is the best game show, and I'll tell you why. It's because it requires intellect. You have to be smart to compete on Jeopardy, and guess what? If you're not, you're gonna get your ass handed to you. And you know what? And all this competition, it's like blood sport on Jeopardy, but it is. It's like intellectual blood sport, but you don't even win that much money.
You're talking about the reward of intellectual pursuit.
Yes. And that's the greatest. That's the most dangerous game. It's the second most dangerous game after.
What's the first?
Hunting humans. If you ever read.
They made a movie about that. Yeah.
What was it called?
Hunger Games?
Oh, yeah, the Hunger Games. The most dangerous Hunger Games of all.
I think I'm joking. I don't think that's the movie I'm thinking of.
No, they did make a movie that was like the most dangerous game. I just can't remember what it was called.
I think it was called The Most Dangerous Game, right? Oh, I'm thinking of Dangerous Minds.
No, they adapted it into something. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the movie Predator is kind of like The Most Dangerous Game.
A little bit, yeah.
Except, superpowered alien.
Same thing. The lack of humanity, I think, is what they were going for.
With Predator or The Most Dangerous Game? Oh,
okay. With both.
Yeah. I'll agree with you there. What were we talking about before Jeopardy? I got on a whole Jeopardy tangent. I love that show. I have nothing but respect for Alex Trebek, okay?
Yeah. I wanted to actually counter something you said a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
About where you think that Lana Del Rey is in it to sell her sex appeal. whereas a Miley Cyrus is kind of in it to sell like a more of a shock appeal. I feel like Miley is more the person who is selling her sex appeal to gain fame, whereas I don't really get that same feeling from Lana Del Rey. Maybe that's because I don't really pay attention to Lana that much.
Yeah, I think that Miley is relying on stunts. Lana's sexuality or sex appeal, it really is. It's more than just her physical image. It's more than just her branding. It really carries through the into her musical content, into her lyrics. Thematically, it fits in with a lot of her songs. Whereas with Miley, I think it's more apparent when she's trying to use her sexuality, or she's trying, because she's pulling these stunts out of nowhere, and she's just producing very generic, club songs now, especially after, she's doing this transition from Hannah Montana, and I guess her managers settled on, oh, hey, Miley.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit.
Let's talk a little bit about that. It feels like it happened at the most recent VMAs. So the big controversy, from what I read, I do a lot more reading now than I do watching, only because I'm getting old.
Oh, God bless you.
Don't have time. Yeah, thank you.
Old man.
The big thing was that she was twerking. Caught the country by storm. The fact that someone would twerk, move their body in a suggestive manner on public television.
Well, I mean, you nailed it with the twerking. That's what happened. Really, just it was quite the grotesquerie. Well, here's the thing. She's trying to sell this sort of sex appeal, which it doesn't really work for me. Like, I don't see the physical appeal of Miley Cyrus.
Interesting. Because there was a lot of discourse. There was a lot of people being appalled, disgusted, upset, and there were a lot of different reasons why. Kind of all of them varying. There were people who were disgusted because she was twerking, but she wasn't really good at it. There were people upset that she was dancing suggestively. There were people upset that she was being racist, which was, kind of why I found it interesting. But you're saying that, she just couldn't twerk.
She needs to work on her craft. I've seen better amateur twerkists. I don't know if that's the
I don't think it
proper,
is.
Well, I don't think there is a proper term, so that's what I'm going to use. If a word does not exist, then I will use one that I've created. Thank you very much.
To be fair, I've tried twerking.
Why?
It's actually difficult.
Why have you tried that?
Just for a different perspective on life.
Like a sad one? You're making me sad talking about that.
It's so that if I go to the club and I have the need or urge to dance, I have something I can pull out of my pocket.
Well, I don't think that's going to be much of a concern because, one, I don't think you would ever willingly go into a club, and two, even if someone dragged you to one, I don't think they'd let you in because they would sense how awkward and uncomfortable you were. So it's just going to be better off for everyone if you stay far, far away.
Yeah, but my awkward uncomfortableness comes off as a cool kind of ease. So it works out in the end.
Is that how if you were in a club, is that really how you would behave, with a cool, calm demeanor? Or would...
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think you would whisper about people to whomever you were with.
The inside is a chaotic mess of negativity and anxiety, but the outside, very cool, calm, and collected.
So sort of like an ice cream with like that hard shell over it, the turtle shell, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much exactly like that.
I don't know why I liked those growing up, because it's just making ice cream more difficult to eat.
Ice cream's pretty easy to eat.
Yeah, but then you put a hard shell over it. Now you have a problem. Now you have to hit your ice cream with a spoon to break it apart. Who thought that was a good idea? Who was like, oh, I like chocolate syrup a lot. You know what would be cool? If it was a hard shell around my ice cream that I couldn't penetrate easily.
Maybe rich people.
Why rich people?
I saw a movie that was from like the 50s where this rich family, they have this like special egg holder where they break open the egg and like eat it. It's kind of like that.
That is cool. You know, they actually have a device now that you can get that they sell on TV where you put an egg into this container thing and you can microwave it and cook your eggs via microwave.
That sounds gross.
It does, doesn't it? Like, and really, were the 2 minutes that it takes to cook in a pan too difficult? Like, was that too time consuming?
Egg is a very hard food to manage. You have to really. There's a lot of heat management. I read a Japanese cookbook that has like an entire couple of chapters on just like cooking eggs.
I've made scrambled eggs before, and it was not very difficult.
Well, that's because you're just scrambling eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to make like a hollandaise sauce or a good omelet or anything like that actually requires a little bit of knowledge, it's not very easy. I mean, you can really mess that kind of stuff up.
I can make an omelet. Okay, I can flip with the best of them.
I'm talking about a good omelet. A juicy omelet that's soft,
a juicy omelet full of egg juice,
soft in the middle, and crusted on the outside. That's what I'm talking about.
Listen, Mike, I have what it takes to be America's next top Denny's chef.
I don't think they use real eggs. I think they use egg beaters.
Well, either way, that's my new idea for a reality TV show on MTV.
America's top Denny's chef?
Denny's line cook.
I think that would get very depressing very quickly.
It probably would be, but it might make people feel better about their own life situations.
Oh, you want to know of the best reality show I've ever seen? Do you know the Onion Network?
Yes.
They have like a series of TV shows.
Yeah, on YouTube.
That they had. Yeah, they have a what's it called? Sex House.
I've heard of that.
It's really good.
It's not.
It's
not really. It's like a reality in quotation marks show.
Yeah, they're actors.
So, it's not.
The feeling's the same,
count, though.
It's the same
parody
thing.
of
It's
them?
It's about as real as any other reality show.
Yeah, but that
Exactly.
I still don't think it counts. I don't think it counts.
It counts.
That's not. No, you can't. I'm trying to think of a.
The only reason why it's different is because the fact that it's fake is a known quantity.
I think that when it comes to reality TV, I think in defining what is reality TV, I think that illusion is actually part of the definition. I mean, yeah, it's edited to all hell, but it starts with something that is real, presumably, right? Well, maybe. I don't even know. I don't work in the TV industry. Why am I even arguing this? I don't know jack about reality TV. I don't watch it. I don't care for it. I mean, how do you feel about the whole Miley situation? Because you mentioned a few negative opinions that people have about it.
Yeah.
Do you feel any of those, or what?
I do. The biggest one to me wasn't the fact that she was dancing suggestively. I mean, people do that all the time, right? Elvis did that. People didn't really like that. A lot of people do that. What really kind of got me interested was the racial reactions to it. Now, I know you said something interesting, that it was kind of grotesque, a grotesque display. And that was something I heard a lot. What it kind of sounds like, a little bit, is when people say when she dances like this, she's being grotesque. And then when you think, oh, what kind of dance is she doing? She's twerking. Where does twerking come from? Who uses twerking? That's kind of something that happens in the black community. It originates in Africa from a tribal dance that they do there. Brings over to America. That's why it's kind of known as more of a African American thing. So when the idea that her using this piece of black culture is grotesque, it seems like the whole thing is kind of geared towards racism, which makes me a little uncomfortable. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of a complex idea, especially to bring to this kind of situation.
You mean a podcast where we talked about Jeopardy for 10 minutes?
I mean, a VMA award show. Yeah.
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I can't say that I have any specific feelings about it one way or the other. I think because I'm not a member of that community, I can't, it's hard for me to get riled up over that.
I wouldn't say I'm angry. That's not the right word to use. but it is an interesting point to look at.
Yeah. But, see, I guess I don't have a problem with it because when I see Miley doing that, I think it's tasteless? Yeah, I don't think it's demonstrating good taste on her behalf. I think it's a desperate move. Ultimately, one that seems to have pulled off. It got her publicity before her album launch.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's offensive because when I see it, I think it's very easy to see that this is clearly just, it's just a cheap PR stunt. And I don't think there's any ill will behind it. I don't think there's any maliciousness to it. I think it's just her going, how can I sell records? Yeah, that's her management going, hey, Miley, look like an idiot.
I think some people, there are a lot of writers who were saying that Miley herself is being offensive. She is being racist. And I wouldn't say that, but what I would say is that the meaning behind what she did. So she is actually the whole ramp up, the whole PR from the moment that she made this shift in her appearance to the moment that the record was released. She has been, or her marketing people, I don't know, have been marketing her towards a more to the African American community a little bit. Like I know a lot of her new songs on her new album have a lot of black musicians on it. So it seems like she's able to parody this culture, this dance, for example, but not really have to live or be a part of that community. She can kind of use that for her own gain, which is, I think, the one key point that gets me the most a little riled up, because it does seem so disingenuous to such a large community.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically this generation's Malcolm X.
I hope to be. That's my goal.
Well, I actually agree with you on most of your points. But I don't think the word parody is appropriate. I would call it stealing if you wanted to be that frank about it, or reappropriation of some sorts. Yeah,
it's appropriation of a culture.
Yeah,
which people do. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like Eminem, he's a really great rapper. People really respect him. LP, another really great producer, another really great rapper. There's nothing wrong with that.
Sure. I mean, they take these things though, and they build off of them, and they make them into their own. Eminem is an incredibly talented rapper and lyricist,
Very much so.
And he has his own unique style. He's really near the top of the game in terms of rapping, I would say.
He is, yeah. I think a lot of people would say that.
Sure, yeah. And same with LP. He's a great producer. He produced, I think, 2 albums last year. Was it this year? He did Killer Mike's rap music, and he also did his own Cancer for Cure. And
I heard Killer Mike's was really good as well.
Yeah, they're both really well-produced albums. They both have this fantastic sort of futuristic sound, and...
But the thing about those guys is that you wouldn't call them appropriating a culture, because they're not using that culture as a tactic, as a marketing tactic. They're part of that culture. They're part of that community.
They're both genuine. They grew up
members of that community.
They grew up as part of that community, the hip hop community, and there's a sincerity to it.
Yeah, to be fair, it doesn't even matter like specifically where you grew up. Like Action Bronson, do you know who that is? He's a rapper from, I think, Brooklyn, and he's good. He's pretty talented. I don't think he would actually grew up like in the same kind of situation where like Eminem or even someone like Lil Wayne or something like that grew up. But he's another person who you would never qualify as misappropriating someone else's culture or something like that.
Yeah, well, and I think that comes back to what I said about the other guys, is that you can tell when someone's being sincere about it. I think that we could find a ton of examples in different genres of this happening. Like one that comes to mind immediately is I think his name is Modest Yahoo. I believe he's an Orthodox Jew who makes reggae music, and no one. I've never heard anyone complain about, oh my God, he's making reggae. That's not something that his culture does. He's stealing it. No, it's like he clearly is passionate about this sort of music. He's putting his own spin on it. and the genre's better off because of it.
I think the distinction that is exists is that some people will use this because they enjoy that music. They enjoy hip hop or reggae or something like that. Whereas someone like Miley, and there have been others, use this music, use this culture, not because they feel accepted in it, but because it is a community that they can use for publicity or that they can use to further their career.
Yeah, sort of steamrolling it. It's really easy to see through it, and it's really easy to imagine the conversations that go on between her executive management, people going, oh, what's big right now? Oh, these club hits are really big. Urban musicians and stuff like that, guest spots from popular black musicians and stuff like that. That's what we need. We need that auto-tune sound like Rihanna and stuff like that. We need singing about, Molly and all this other stuff. And it's really easy to just sort of see this music being made by committee and going, hey, Miley, you want to stay relevant. You want to keep selling albums. Well, this is what's selling right now. So this is what we want you to sing about. This is the image that we want you to force on you. And it all seems kind of insincere. She seems happy to go along with it, but it doesn't seem to fit. She's not. It'd be like if I put on like a leather jacket and tried hanging out with like some punk rock kids or something. Like they would know. They'd be like, you clearly don't belong here. You don't know what you're talking about.
That actually happened. I think it was the Sex Pistols. I think it was. Yeah, they were just like a created band. A marketing exec saw how popular punk music was getting. He found some cool kids on the street, and they started playing punk music and got really big. I'm not making that up. That actually happened.
I don't know. I don't have much music history, I guess.
Okay.
My music knowledge goes as far back as, I think, around 1997, when the Backstreet Boys' first album came out.
That does explain a lot about you, I guess.
My sweet voice and my great taste.
It's just your taste in music, I guess.
Oh, whatever, man.
Makes sense.
Listen, I went through a dark phase. I listened to Nine Inch Nails, okay?
Oh, yeah. That's
pretty hardcore.
Do you listen to any black metal?
No, and I know that you are into some of these metal subgenres.
Oh, there's a lot of subgenres. I could talk for a very long time about metal subgenres.
I tried. I think back in high school you recommended, or not recommended, you might have just mentioned a subgenre. I think it was called Funeral Doom.
Funeral Doom, yeah, that gets pretty dark.
Is it on? You think it's on Spotify?
It should be.
Because
it's pretty popular.
I do all of my music listening through Spotify now exclusively.
I don't know how you do it. The user interface is just so wacky.
It's not complicated at all. How on earth is it wacky to you? Have you ever used a computer before? Do you know how to use modern technology, or are you like a living, breathing version of that one scene in Zoolander when Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller can't get the files out of the computer?
No, I'm not that bad. I just don't like Spotify.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I love Spotify, and I'll tell you another thing. I love Owen Wilson. It makes it
so hard.
It does not make anything difficult. It could not be any easier. I'm getting offended that you don't know how to use this incredibly simple music program.
Well, I know how to use it, but okay. I was looking for a band, and I couldn't find it, and I was upset, so I stopped using it.
They don't have all of these obscure funeral doom bands. They have 99% of the music you're gonna listen to.
I can't remember who it was. I think it was just like some pop indie band or something.
It's probably like the Black Eyed Peas or something. They didn't have their new single.
Yeah, Mike, it was the Black Eyed Peas. I couldn't find the Black Eyed Peas on Spotify.
You couldn't get Fergie-licious?
It was Fergie's side project. Ferg Me Up.
Oh, God, no, I don't want to do anything to her.
Well, no, I mean like turn me up, turn up my microphone. There's that kind of illusion. But it was also sexual illusion as well.
God, I think the Black Eyed Peas might be the only musical act out now that's even more transparent in their grab for fame than Miley Cyrus.
They creep me out a little bit.
Why
is that? Honest. That whole band creeps. Like will.i.am, I just don't like him. I don't like the whole thing, the whole style, the whole thing. It's just
he's very full of himself, considering that he abandoned making socially conscious hip hop as soon as they got the slightest taste of fame.
Yeah, I'm not really into
Well,
that.
I'm not really into socially conscious hip hop. It kind of bores me, but it's respectable.
Well, I do like socially conscious hip hop. I mean, I'm not into people selling out. That's what I meant.
And I don't even. I guess. I don't usually mind people say. I don't want to be one of those people who's like, they sold out. They're not cool anymore. Because everyone wants to get money, sure, but
Yeah.
the efficiency at which Will.i.am and the Black Eyed Peas just completely ditched their message is incredible. And now they make just the worst of the worst. Horrible radio pop. It's all so awful.
There's actually a really interesting character or celebrity or personality, whichever word you want to use, that fits into that idea of hip hop selling out, and that's Kanye West. Are you familiar with his work?
I'm a fan of his work. He's my spirit animal.
He's your spirit animal. That's creepy. He started out making, I wouldn't say socially conscious work. He got really big, but as far back as I would say my Twisted, Dark, Beautiful, Twisted Fantasy.
Close enough. The 2010 album.
Good enough. He's still making conscious hip hop as well as conscious commentary, socially conscious.
Well, I like Kanye a lot, and I believe you do too. And
I do.
Part of the reason I like him, honestly, is because he seems a little more complex than a lot of these cookie cutter celebs like Miley Cyrus and Katy Perry and this and that.
For the record, I know you mentioned it, but I don't actually mind. Katy Perry.
I think she's beautiful.
Yeah, she's attractive. I mean, there are some songs that are cool.
I don't know
really mind her
about
that
the
well.
songs. I haven't listened to them.
Do you have like a poster up of her like on top of your ceiling?
I don't, but that's not a bad idea. But I'm going to take it one step further, and I'm actually going to commission a series of painters to do a nice big ceiling painting like in the Sistine Chapel.
I think you'd have to get that passed by her team. It seems like it would go past her copyright. I'm sure her image is copyrighted.
I don't know. That's going to be so expensive, though. Can I change her hair color or something?
I mean, maybe give her glasses.
I love it. Just like girls on Halloween who put on a pair of thick-rimmed glasses and they go, "Now I'm a nerd."
And then I look at them and laugh, but inside
that
I'm
is
kind of
no.
sad
That is my favorite Halloween costume because it implies that these people are so dumb. They are so far from being intelligent that being smart is a costume for them. That it is a fun activity for them to pretend to be someone smart.
I mean, guys do that too. You see, like this jock who wears the suspenders and the things.
Yeah. I think it does. It does happen on both
ends.
ends. It's not a gender specific thing. I guess it's just more noticeable when I think I've seen more women do it than men. At least in my experience.
Men. Yeah, that's because you don't hang out with the smartest people.
No, it's because I don't hang out with jocks who dress up in suspenders. I don't hang out with jocks at all. I don't even know why you're bringing that up.
I just mean in general, in the general scene of Halloween.
The Halloween scene, the nerd costume, that's offensive to actual nerds dressing up in nerd face.
I mean, I kind of dress like that every day.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So, and they've turned you into a costume.
And turned me into costume. Very timely.
It's basically blackface all over again.
Oh boy, here we go.
Only this time I'm involved, and I'm bringing the heat.
You're not a nerd though, Mike.
I think I am. I'm what? What?
More of a. So about Kanye West.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's avoid that subject. It's just easier that way. Kanye West. No, what I was gonna say about Kanye is I think Kanye is great because he seems to me I think there is a level of sincerity. I think he's a genuine guy. I think he.
That's interesting.
Well, I think he's conflicted, and I think if you listen to his songs, I think he's still making songs with social commentary. They're very smart songs. You know, there were a lot more back in his debut album, but he's still making them now. But there are also just as many songs about materialism that seem to glorify this hip hop lifestyle, and so there's sort of a dichotomy there, and I think that's really interesting.
I'm gonna pull up that track listing because I don't remember. What's the acronym for the 2010 album? Because I don't feel like saying "My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy" every single time.
Well, it's just easier to say that than the acronym. The acronym would be
My Twisted Fantasy.
DTF.
Because when that album came out, there were some socially conscious songs. The one he had with Kid Cudi, I remember, had a little bit of that going on. But then he had a song like Hell of a Life, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was just kind of like a, drugs and sex song. But, that criticism was made, and his like rebuttal to that side of his music, that kind of very, I guess, stereotypical hip-hop side. Oh, So Appalled. That was a song. That was a song that people were really latching onto.
What song?
So Appalled.
Oh, So Appalled. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
No, it is a very kind of gangsta hip-hop, gangsta rap song, yeah.
But his retort to that criticism was that he was pointing out that for a specific reason, showing that, this is actually something to be abhorred. But I guess like his newest album, which I haven't gotten around to listen to, had a lot of this going on, where he would talk about, having sex with a bunch of women.
Yes.
And stuff like that.
Every song on Yeezus is either him condemning racism, like modern racism, or it's about him having sex with a bunch of women. There's no in between, except for the one song where he claims that he's a god and that he talked to Jesus, which I also think is fantastic.
He has one song called Jesus Walks, where he says that he is a believing Christian. So he might not be actually physically speaking to Jesus, but through his faith, he's talking to Jesus.
No, but
it's what I believe what he meant.
I'm pretty sure it's sacrilegious to claim that you are a god, though.
But about Jesus, so they had that like racial social commentary in it. But I don't know if did you read this about like the people were criticizing the fact that he was being like super sexist and like kind of gross in some of those songs.
Yes.
And he was saying that like, oh yeah, well what I'm saying is that's kind of the downside of being a celebrity.
He didn't make it sound like a downside.
Like through his commentary afterwards, like.
Oh, okay.
As a retort to the criticism. I don't know if I read that somewhere or if that was someone's if that was like a third party's interpretation or something like that.
Well, I think you should listen to this album Yeezus because it's pretty great. It grows on you.
It does.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get into. I don't think it's very accessible, but it's grown on me.
Like I said, he's been able to keep that socially aware side of his music intact, at the same time grow really, really large. Which is something you don't really see a lot with most musicians, most celebrities. Yeah,
and he seems like the kind of guy who will make missteps, usually pretty public ones, and he seems to actually experience or express remorse afterwards, which I think is interesting too. Miley did this whole twerking thing. And I don't know if you heard about the whole Sinead O'Connor situation that happened afterwards. Did you hear about this at all?
I heard that it existed. I didn't actually read any of it though.
I read her first letter to Miley. She sent her an open letter, and she sent her some very sincere advice because Miley, I guess, listed Sinead O'Connor as an influencer or someone she looked up to, and Sinead sent her a very sincere open letter about how the music industry does not care about you. The executives don't care about you. They will do anything to exploit you to sell more albums and make themselves more money. And I thought it was a very compelling letter. And Miley basically like tweeted back at her like, "Oh, I'm too busy hosting Saturday Night Live."
Oh my God.
And it was just the very flippant response, very dismissive, and it just reeked of like immaturity. And then I sort of contrast that in my mind with Kanye's incident at the VMAs. A few years back, he interrupted Taylor Swift's acceptance speech. Yeah, and which was a total douche thing to do, completely inappropriate.
Well, it was unprofessional on every level. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. Like it was. Yeah, we don't need to get into that, but yeah, we all know it was a bad thing to do, and instead afterwards, he expressed remorse. He went on Letterman and talked about it. He sent her a very lengthy apology over Twitter, which was a horrible idea because it's really not the proper medium to send anything longer than a couple of sentences.
Yeah, Twitter really isn't the popular medium for anything of any substance.
That's not true. Come on, it's a great network.
Of most substance, anything with most substance.
It's fun though.
It's a great place to make a joke, I will admit.
I think that's why I like it so much.
That's fair.
I'm always joking.
Yeah, Kanye West has been the center of a lot of I guess you would call them controversy. His most recent one was the thing with Kimmel, right?
Yeah, the whole stupid feud between them. I mean, really, I blame Kimmel for that. I think he's kind of a hack, but you know.
Mm-hmm. What exactly was the feud?
You know, Kanye did this very long interview with the BBC, and Kimmel and his writing staff decided, it'd be a funny sketch. They took actual quotes that Kanye said, and they had a little kid say those quotes. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that was the entire joke.
That was the joke, yeah.
Is that, it's a kid saying what Kanye said, haha. And it's like, yeah, I think it's a pretty lame joke to begin with. But it's also kind of insulting to Kanye, someone who's passionately talking about his craft. And he's talking about a lot of different things. You can take
It is.
You can take a few sentences from any of us, and have a kid say it, and it's going to sound like funny or like, what is this person saying, So I just thought it was kind of a lame joke all around. And of course, Kanye got angry about it. I would too.
Yeah. I think, if I remember correctly, he was angry not only because it was insulting to his, to the fact that he's an artist, but was there some kind of racial undertones that it was like the fact that it was a black artist or something like that? I don't remember exactly. Was that a point that was being made?
I honestly don't know if that was a point being made. I try to avoid such controversies as much as possible, and it's not even that I'm sick of Kanye controversies. I'm sick of Kimmel controversies.
Yeah, he does a lot.
He does. Well, because you need fresh content 5 days a week. So what a better way to come up with new celebrity shenanigans than if you're the one provoking them? It's like being a paparazzo or something.
It is a lot like that, actually. Yeah.
Except you get to stand on a stage and smugly tell some horrible jokes during your monologue each night. I don't really watch late night talk shows, but I'd love to be a late night talk show host. I would hate having to feign interest in whatever crappy movie celebrities are releasing.
Think about having Chris Hemsworth in your studio talking about the next fucking...
The next Thor movie, Thor 2.
That'd be terrible.
That's true.
Think about how uninteresting that he is.
It's not even a matter of how interesting he is. It's just a matter of how mediocre that movie is going to be. And you know it's not going to be a good movie. The first Thor was terrible.
No, yeah.
And he's going to get up there and he's going to, what was great about this movie was that it was just such a fun movie. And I think they're really going to, audiences are going to love it when they're watching it. They're really going to like it more than the first one. And I would just be sitting there like twiddling my pen around in my fingers. And I'd be like, you're lying to me, Chris Hemsworth. You're lying to all these honest, hardworking Americans.
Something I've noticed from those shows is that you can tell how bad the movie is related to how many times they say the movie was fun to make.
Yes.
If a movie was really fun to make, then it's probably not going to be very good.
If you can't say anything about like the quality of the craft of the people making it, and instead you're like, we just had a great time. It was just like hanging out with your best friends, like your best buds.
Brad Pitt, he went around promoting the new McQueen movie, 12 Years a Slave. He never used the word fun while talking about the movie. He actually described its qualities.
Yeah. Compare that to a Vince Vaughn movie or something.
Avengers.
The Avengers had moments. Joss Whedon really kept that from sinking.
Yeah.
Because, this isn't our superhero podcast again, but I will say about the Avengers really quick. There are a million ways that movie could have just tanked.
There is.
So I give Joss Whedon a lot of credit for having a script that was tight enough to keep it together.
I'm saying the actors said how fun it was to make.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was a blast. Yeah. Joss is just so fun to work with. I can just imagine this happening.
It's so fun to work with. Yeah, that's another one.
I think, yeah. And if you're talking about Tom Cruise, then instead of fun, it becomes intense, I think.
He's really intense. He just really cares.
Yeah, Tom Cruise, he just gives every scene his all. He likes to do his own stunts. He's always... I was always worried I was going to hurt him and stuff because we were just doing our own stunts. I was throwing punches at him. He's such an intense guy, He always gives it his all. That I could be in one of these movies. I'm pretty sure I have the interview circuit nailed.
I mean, you actually have to be able to act. That's I believe one of the stipulations to being in a movie.
I wouldn't know about that.
Oh. Take my word for it.
No, not until I get the plastic surgery.
Mm-hmm. Only a matter of time.
Make me symmetrical. Then I can be on TV and ditch this podcast business.
Mike, you're not going anywhere without this podcast.
Literally 2 episodes in, you would think this is the key to our future. Okay.
Actually, to bring it back, a little bit of a callback, if you will. During it's a Kanye West song. I think it's Through the Wire. He does it a few times on that album. It's Through the Wire where he talks about like the fact that he made it through. If you don't know, when he was making The College Dropout, he got into a automobile accident, broke his jaw, had to get it wired shut for a few months, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he did a song called Through the Wire where he's like rapping through this like really his mouth is literally wired shut. And it's not a very good song because he can't really rap in it because he physically can't speak. But he says in there, like, how he's here for a reason. And then there's a Last Call on that album where, again, he's like, he kind of prophesizes his own rise to fame.
Was that the song on the album that's like 10 minutes long?
It's like, yeah, it has that beat.
Because I always skip that one.
What? Are you kidding? That's the best song.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I'm not, listen, I like Kanye a lot, but I'm not going to devote 10 minutes to one of his songs. Especially if there's any sort of spoken word in there.
Well, no, he talks about how he started like making ghost beats for people, how he made the one song for Jay-Z, his first song for Jay-Z. He talks about like his rise from being just like a producer who makes beats for people to being Kanye West. It's pretty, I'm not gonna say insightful, but it's interesting to listen to.
Well, he started from the bottom, now he's here.
Why do I talk to?
So I thought that was a pretty good reference.
On Last Call, he has this really great line. Mayonnaise-colored Benz, I push miracle whips.
Wow, that is actually a pretty great line.
I know, it's pretty great.
That's...
Unfortunately, he's not the greatest rapper, so that's like the best line on the whole album.
No, he's not, but he has charisma. That's what I like about his raps. Yeah.
That's 30% of rapping is charisma.
What? Actually, speaking of Kanye songs, really quick, a line that has been stuck in my head for like the past few days is by Pusha T on the song "Mercy" from Kanye's his label Good Music released an album called "Cruel Summer," and Pusha T has a line in the song "Mercy" where he goes, I think he says, "Frosting on that pound cake, so your Duncan Hines is irrelevant," and I just love that. It's
on your pound cake.
So your Duncan Hines is irrelevant. I guess Duncan Hines sells cake mix. I love it.
That's funny.
I love Pusha T because I don't think he's that great at rapping, but I like how he's
pretty good.
Yeah,
like he's pretty good at rapping.
I like him more when he's doing a guest spot on a Kanye song than when he's carrying his own songs though.
His features are better than his main stuff.
I enjoy when he yells "woo" in the middle of his rap. So like he'll have a good line and he'd be like, Duncan Hines is irrelevant. Woo! And it's just great. I love that enthusiasm for his own raps that he's written already.
Talking about ad-libs, do you know who has the best ad-lib? It's Rick Ross.
Oh, really?
He has the best.
Does he?
Yeah, he goes, That's his thing. If you listen to any of his songs, he does that.
I love when I really do love when rappers do that. My favorite, I think maybe the worst offender, and my favorite in a few ways, is Waka Flocka Flame. Because he does, if you listen to his song "Hardened to Paint," he doesn't do that in the middle of his lines. Like he won't tell a line and then go like "woo" or "ah." Like just the entire background vocal track of his song is just him yelling
Waka.
at himself. Yeah, waka, 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 waka. Just like all this stuff. It's incredible. It's like he's just yelling at himself while he's rapping. It's so great.
That's known as an ad lib.
It's known as gibberish when Waka does it.
Yeah, Waka's is the best. Gucci Mane.
Gucci's fun.
Who has a lot of really good ones.
I like Young Jeezy.
Yeah.
He laughs a lot. Ha ha!
Yeah, you don't do a very good Young Jeezy impression.
Well, I mean, it was toned down for our listeners.
Yeah. I see. You don't want to scare people.
No, I don't want to scare anyone. I don't want them to think I'm, a scary guy. I want people to love me.
I see. That's a very loaded language.
Oh, God. Why is it always... just calm down. Calm down, okay? Johnny Cochran over here.
Johnny Cochran. I think you're thinking of... Wait, who's Johnny Cochran?
I'm not getting into that with you. Google it sometime.
The lawyer?
Yeah, he's the lawyer.
So, Mike, I have a question.
Yeah?
Did you have fun today?
I have fun every day that we record.
It was a fun time. But... like most things in the world, comes to an end.
Like all human lives.
Like everything that exists.
The cold touch of death is upon this show.
But where can people follow us if they would like a little bit more of you were saying?
Well, you know, they should, if you're listening to this, maybe you found us through Tumblr. If not, follow us on our website, ywspodcast.tumblr.com. Also, be sure to check us out on Twitter. I'm at HipNihilist, HIPNIHILST. And Mike, what's your Twitter?
Oh, I forgot I had a Twitter.
Yeah, maybe don't follow him on Twitter. He doesn't actually tweet.
Mine is at Mort Hobbs. If you Google that, I'm the first search because I am very popular.
And be sure to check us out on iTunes if you use that for your podcast management. Search for us, subscribe, maybe give us a nice little rating if you enjoyed listening.
That would be really helpful.
It would mean a lot to us, and then send us an email. Let us know at ywspodcast@gmail.com, and we'd frame it on our wall.